Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for Tuesday, September 16, 2025. And in the news this afternoon, JCF warns against the fake kidnappings. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is warning against the practice of fake kidnappings. Station Manager at the National Strategic Anti-Gang Division, Detective Inspector Paulette Winter Crossfield, explained that teen girls are staging kidnappings to spend a prolonged period with their male friends. You have teenagers who go out with their male friend for whatever reason, spend the days, and then when they return home, they make a contact, either them or they ask someone to make contact with family members to say that they are kidnapped and demanding money for a release, Detective Inspector Winter Crossfield said. She was speaking on the Force for Good podcast recently, which is an initiative of the JCF aimed at shining light on issues affecting Jamaicans. Sub-officer at the National Strategic Anti-Gang Division, Detective Sergeant Grace Fraser Lawrence, warned that fake kidnapping is classified as creating public mischief, and as such, the individual or persons can be charged. Of course, we are going to use the resources of the Jamaica Constabulary Force to try and bring you home safely. Sometimes you will see what is happening. However, we still have to make sure that the hostage, so-called hostage, is returned safely, and upon doing that and using our resources, yes, we prosecute where necessary, Detective Sergeant Fraser Lawrence said. Meanwhile, Detective Inspector Winter Crossfield also warned of the trend of motorists operating motor vehicles pretending to be taxis. Then persons who are so unsuspecting, not knowing that it's not a taxi, enter the vehicle, and then they are held at gunpoint in the vehicle and taken to ATMs, forced to give their banking information for the criminals to withdraw money. I wouldn't say it's prevalent now, but it is on the rise. A few years ago, we had it where we consider it as prevalent, but we realize it's coming back now, she said. She also encouraged the public to only take vehicles that are licensed to carry passengers. We also advise that you take photographs of the vehicle and the license plates, and if it's possible, take a photograph of the driver and send it on to a trusted relative or friend, Detective Inspector Winter Crossfield said. Fire leaves a St. Elizabeth family homeless. A family of 4, including 3 students, were on Monday morning left homeless after fire spread across a section of Windsor in St. Elizabeth. Reports are that the family was awoken by shouts as neighbors attempted to alert them to the fire which started at the back of the dwelling. They managed to escape the building before it was engulfed. The fire also spread to a nearby church as well as a motor vehicle parked in close proximity. 2 units from the Santa Cruz fire station managed to extinguish the blaze at the church. The firefighters could only conduct cooling down operations on the house and the car. Police crack down on students loitering in Spanish Town. It's only been a full week since the resumption of schools, and the police in St. Catherine North already have their hands full trying to prevent students from loitering. Police teams were busy Monday morning clearing students on the streets of Spanish Town. During the operation dubbed Learn Not to Loiter, 37 students, including 20 males and 17 females, were held as officers ordered scores of students to move along. Biometric data was collected and their parents notified. Sub-officer in charge of the St. Catherine North Community Safety and Security Branch, Sergeant Kester Fennell, said groups of students are frequently seen gathering and engaging in unruly practices before, during, and after school hours.
School begins at 7:30, and even at 8:30 you have large gathering of students out there idle on the street. Some of them have even been seen smoking in the bus park before going to school in the mornings. A lot of these children are not coming out properly dressed or attired for school. And so a lot of these issues that we have recognized, we want to ensure that we do our part in trying to rid our society and our students of these practices. As a matter of fact, we have already engage with some of the administrators, especially the deans of disciplines for these schools. Whilst that may be so for some, it is not the case for all. These students are very selective in the buses that they choose to travel on. So if these buses are not playing the loud, lewd music that allows them to carry on and to engage in all kind of activities that are not suitable for children, most times they are not interested in taking those buses. So that will make the drivers reluctant to carry them in cases like these, where they are only taking those buses under duress and not because they truly want. What we'll be doing is ensuring that the buses are in the park in the morning. As a part of this initiative, we want to ensure that we engage the parents to point out to them the errors that they are making as well, because a lot of these students are not coming out on time, and so therefore they cannot get to school on time. So we want parents to be able to understand their role in the process and their responsibility as it regards their children getting to school on time. So we want to be engaging with the parents, and we want to ensure that all the children that are here in our custody live in the care of their parents.
PNP councillors hit back at the JLP's condemnation of Norman Scott. The St. Catherine Caucus of People's National Party councillors has described as deeply troubling the statement from the Jamaica Labour Party condemning Mayor of Spanish Town and the former candidate for St. Elizabeth Southeastern, Norman Scott, who is accused of assaulting an election day worker. The PNP councillors say the JLP has rushed to judgment, disregarding one of the fundamental pillars of the country's legal system, that an individual is innocent until proven guilty. They say by attempting to try Mr. Scott in the court of public opinion before the judicial process has taken its course, the JLP's response appears less about a concern for the alleged victim and more about scoring political points. The JLP has urged the PNP leadership to immediately state what action will be taken against Mr. Scott. But the St. Catherine Caucus of Councillors says this selective outrage undermines the principles of fairness and the due process that all Jamaicans should uphold. The caucus pointed to the questioning of former JLP Member of Parliament George Wright in relation to a widely circulated video of a man hitting a woman with a stool, noting that the JLP did not take the moral high ground it now claims. It says that the inconsistency in the JLP's approach exposes the political motivation behind the condemnation of Mr. Scott. The PNP caucus says if the party was genuinely concerned about issues of violence against women, its actions would have reflected equal treatment in both cases. St. Andrew businessman charged with a fraud over car deal. 35-year-old St. Andrew businessman Nicholas Morgan has been charged with a fraud in connection with a failed car buying transaction. According to reports from the Portmore Criminal Investigation Branch in St. Catherine, between January and July 28, Morgan allegedly received a bank transfer totaling $1.3 million from a woman as payment for a 2019 Honda Fit motor vehicle. However, the woman never received the vehicle, and the efforts to obtain a refund were unsuccessful, according to the police. Police investigators later revealed that Morgan had allegedly converted the funds for his personal use. A report was made to the police and an investigation was launched. Morgan was charged following a question and answer session conducted in the presence of his attorney while he was in custody for a similar matter. A court date is currently being finalized. Man killed in Nannyville shootout was a former member of a shanty gang, says the police. The police have released information about the fatal shooting of a 28-year-old man who they said died during an operation in Nannyville Gardens, Kingston 3, Monday morning. The deceased, Nicardo Lewis, otherwise called the Papi, was shot dead at his home on Blue Mountain Drive during an alleged shootout with lawmen. According to the police, around 4 a.m., about 20 personnel acting on information went to Lewis's residence. Upon their approach, the police said Lewis opened fire at them, resulting in an armed confrontation. During the exchange, Lewis was shot and injured, and a firearm was seized. Further reports stated that Lewis was subsequently transported to the Kingston Public Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. None of the officers was injured during the incident. The police said intelligence indicated that Lewis was a former member of the Akeem Boy Newman-led faction of the Ashanti Gang, which asserts a dominance over sections of the Nannyville community. They say Lewis was previously taken into custody on December 25, 2018 in relation to a dispute with another man who was a leader of a breakaway section of that gang. Lewis's mother, in an earlier interview, told the news that the police shot and killed her son in cold blood. The mother, Rosemary Walker, disclosed that the lawmen took a baby from Lewis, shot him, put a gun in his hand, and fired one round from the weapon.
Rosemary Walker, 12 Blue Mountain Drive, I live in. This man around after 3, my daughter went to the bathroom and here knocking on the back door. Boom, 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 boom. So she said, Mommy, it sound like police. I get up, open the door. As I open the door, is a big gun I'm looking at. I said, what's the problem? Them come. Me say, have a warrant to search? Yes. They still never give me no warrant. Me turn the next one, open the door, and them come straight in, bar go straight into my son's room. Knock on his door. He say, who is this? He say, who are you inside there? He say, my baby inside here. The postman say, open and he open the door, stop with the baby name on. The second son walk come that chain from him. So when the policeman take the baby from my son, give it to my boyfriend, which is Peter, and then turn the gun on him and kill him. My son said that my son run off. When my son run off, now them rush him now. He went in the bathroom. And him have to start beg for him life, let them turn the gun on him. You know what them did? After them kill my son, them take out what fit them gun, put it in his son's hand and fire one bullet out of that. And I need justice for my son. My son is not a gunman. My son live inside with his 1-year-old baby and then take the baby to my son and murder my child. And I need justice. I'm going straight to Intercom and call to Commercial Office. I need justice for my son.
Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.